Welcome to Presence Practice with Poonam and Parker. Poonam.
Hey, Parker.
So today's topic is using social media or being used by social media unconsciously. It's a video that addresses a topic that I have noticed a lot of people questioning is how much social media is appropriate. And some people say none, and that's right for them. And some people are plugged in a lot, and that may be what's right for them. Behind all action is an impulse, and our clarity around our own impulse around doing anything will determine the quality of whatever is manifested out in the world. So in my experience, if I ask myself, what is my impulse? What am I doing now, here? That's my state of consciousness. So if we're getting on social media because we're bored, we want to give our mind something to chew on, something interesting or fascinating, or those more passive qualities of cute and wholesome. Or are we going there seeking approval or recognition, attention? If that's going on, then sitting with ourselves and deepening our presence in being and giving ourselves that same focus and attention may be in order. So if we can recognize that as it happens, the unconscious impulse to get onto the computer and do Instagram or Facebook or any other form of social media, or even just scrolling the news, it is a form of escape or a form of feeding a false sense of identity, then I encourage to take 3 beautiful, deep breaths and say, what is my impulse, and what do I want to be feeding myself right now? What do I want to welcome into my energy field? So I can channel Eckhart here. Eckhart was not a big fan of it, but of social media, but I've seen that they are embracing it through their behavior and their activities. So the discussion wants to be had around connecting people that are in a space of waking up, and every human is in some space, no matter how unconscious they may appear to be most of the time or a good deal of the time. Humanity is moving towards this space, but it's the quality of energy that we are receiving that's going to either help or hinder our depth of staying present. Does it? And there's no wrong, there's no don't do this or this is bad or wrong. It's with anything that gives a lot, it can also has the ability to take a lot too. So if we maybe say 30 minutes a day, I think, Poonam, you have a practice of going on and tending to your groups a couple times a day and then dropping it in between. So not thinking about whether someone's liking what we posted or not liking what we posted, or judging it in some way or considering on it. All of that is going to take us out of the present moment. It's going to put us in a very superficial relationship with the outer world that has us all connected. So the question, I wrote these 2 questions down. Are we adding to the madness, or are we supporting the clarity of the present moment? Are we congratulating ourselves? Right? So see what the impulse is. If it is to connect, to welcome stillness into your life, if it's for practical purposes, all these impulses come and then they have us in the next moment holding that same amount of consciousness in that space. So if you find yourself scrolling and scrolling out of boredom, I also recommend not saying, I shouldn't be doing this. This is bad. This is a waste of time. I'm still bored. Uh, those are the same energy vibration of the voice of boredom. So if you could just see, don't say this is okay for right now, is the first moment of accepting, oh, here I am scrolling, is awareness. Now you're not just mindlessly scrolling, you're now scrolling with awareness, and that's a completely different frequency. How has it been for you managing two Facebook groups of conscious beings? What has the balance between uh, of managing those groups and not managing those groups?
So I follow what Eckhart says, which even in School of Awakening, he uses this term called hive mind. So the moment we open social media, and this can be social media, it can be YouTube, right? We're watching one video, and then from that one video on YouTube, we've gone to a totally, yeah, we opened it up for Eckhart's video, and now we are going and watching some dance and some comedy show, right? It sucks us in, right? And it goes back to the fact that what he said, that we were born with a sense of lack and incompleteness, and that lack and incompleteness goes into this egoic wanting, and we are pulled, like there's a compulsion from that human being. If we are not observing our mind, the compulsion and tendencies of the human being shows up in, okay, I'm going to punch on this video and this video and this post and this post. So I follow what Eckhart says is, I do it in presence, take that conscious breath, and then I feel the energy, the inner, I'm very inhabited in my body when I do it. And the moment I don't feel that I'm getting pulled, I will stop. And that could be within half hour. Like if there's too much mind energy going on in the group, I'll see it. And then if I'm getting pulled in, I know, like, so the witnessing presence is always there. And that is what presence practice helps us with. And that's why we do so much breath work. That's why we do so much inner body meditation. Meditation is, we are witnessing what we are doing, right? Constantly
Observing,
observing.
observing the dream. And what a, a wonderful experiment it would be if we, before we decided to watch the news or listen to the radio or get on social media, if we were to say, I will spend 3 minutes being aware of the breath as it moves into my body, and breathe deeply for 3 minutes, and then go and spend 3 minutes looking at whatever social media, but this time with awareness, but move into it and feel, how does it feel to breathe for that 3 minutes? And how does it feel to look at the social media for 3 minutes? So if getting on social media is the same, it's wonderful because you're now using social media. If it feels like a drag, maybe consider if that's the kind of energy that you want to bring in, and maybe you could replace this habit with 3 minutes of breathing and breathing deeply, or you could look at any of the breath videos that we've posted on the YouTube channel, and that may be of service too.
The one part of it is not to be attached to the opinion. Like what we are stating, we have to realize is an opinion. It's going consciousness through this form is using words and posting something, and it's just an opinion. It could hold the absolute truth or it may not. I feel like some people get into this egoic battle of somebody tears down that opinion or opposes it, and then they're back and forth going on social media, post after post after post, opposing each other, right? So that is again mind energy. We have to recognize when we begin to do that, it is again mind energy pulling us.
Yes.
Right.
So again, a good question to ask is, when anytime we are using our words, putting energy out into the world, what is the impulse? Are we trying to correct some diminishment of form, or correct someone's opinion of us or our spiritual knowledge? Because these are all concepts, all the teachings, all the words that were used, these are all pointers. Even the most potent sounds we can make with our words cannot replace the actual application in our bones, put it in our bones, where we move a concept into behavior. And the first step that we can do is to have an honest assessment of our impulse around things, and to just leave people and situations alone. Let people have their own learning place. If we're teaching someone and our impulse is to teach, then it's going to mix up with all the other stuff, dynamics that we have. But if we're sharing and supporting, then we're loving on the other person, and it very much will show in how your message is manifested. So also be so gentle with each other out in the spiritual community. We can be hard sometimes, I've noticed, on each other, and let's all be gentle. Sometimes we have 90% consciousness, sometimes we have 40% consciousness, but trust, as you trust in your own unfoldment, trust in your brother and sister's unfoldment too. And let's, if we're going to go to these places to connect, let's make our impulse clean, so that we're coming gentle and on our knees, humble, in locked in arms with our sisters and brothers.
Perfect lesson in non-attachment.
Yeah, let's leave each other alone and leave ourselves alone too. Just notice, that's all we have to do, right?